I feel as though there's something down here that doesn't want us here.
Ghostly apparitions, murder and war await the most haunted team in Bradford. Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. Our northern base can lay claim to one of Britain's first recorded ghost sightings. And nearly 400 years later, mystery still surrounds a place where full apparitions, pungent odours and poltergeist activity waits around every corner. That's why I've brought you to Bolling Hall. Dating back over 900 years and lying on the southern outskirts of Bradford city centre, Bolling Hall is a building that has grown with each passing century. First noted in the Domesday Book in 1086, it's thought that the hall was first acquired by the Bollings in the 12th century. Not only did it witness the siege of Bradford, it was actually used as a royalist base during the Civil War, and one of its most notable treasures being the death mask of the rebellious Oliver Cromwell. However, the hall, which has been a museum since 1915, has an even greater history of hauntings that date back several centuries.
I think that Bolling Hall is probably the most confusing and complicated haunted property that I've ever been to, and it's taken me an awful long time and quite a lot of research to get my head round the place. But the fantastic thing about it is that it has so many documented, recorded sightings of ghosts, not stuff that you just pull up off the internet, but I'm talking about the academic stuff that goes back many, many years.
First recorded in 1643, the ghost of a woman has been seen in here wringing her hands many times. Also, the bedclothes are pulled from unsuspecting guests with regular occurrence. But there's one thing that happened in this room that was incredibly brutal. An elderly gentleman was killed in this very bed, and ever since then, his ghost has been seen in here on several different occasions. There are a few strange occurrences that happen around this beautiful Georgian staircase. One of them is a foul smell that permeates around this area. The other is a strange rattling noise that's heard in the dead of night. But perhaps the most terrifying is that of two apparitions that are seen here on a regular basis. One is a woman in grey and the other is a woman in pink.
There was one afternoon we're close to the public and I was actually cleaning up the museum, and in the entrance to the drawing room in the Georgian wing I saw a lady in an old-fashioned dress, and for a split second I just saw her and she wandered out of view into the Georgian staircase area. I run up to where she was, and as I got there she vanished. And I looked at the portrait which stands on the staircase, on the Georgian staircase, and it was Mrs. Wood. It looked exactly like her.
There is a legend that a woman was thrown off this balcony and killed. As there are no records of this actually happening, we're not sure if this event ever took place. But what we do know is 10 security guards left the hall in absolute fear in the last 2 years after seeing what they describe as a frightening apparition of a woman wearing a white dress. She walks along this very spot, wailing as if in pain.
Our quest for further paranormal evidence continually takes in a whole host of contrasting buildings. But today we're presented with a former family home that has served as a local museum for nearly a century. An unusual scenario that certainly interests parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe.
So is there anything we have to be careful of tonight?
The museum houses a lot of visual prompts, a lot of exhibits and artefacts that one could interpret as being associated with the place. There's one particular area where repeatable phenomena has been witnessed, and that's an apparition of a grey lady, sometimes a pink lady, which is in the Georgian wing. Because there is a big portrait of a lady there, people may be reporting the apparition after they've seen the portrait.
She's dressed in pink.
Exactly. So there may be a suggestion aspect going on there.
And also, I suppose we've got to be very careful because where the museum is situated, we're right in the middle of a housing estate, I suppose. So there's lots of noise.
Yeah, we do have to be very careful, and also there aren't any gates or fencing to block people from coming into the grounds. So we have to be very aware, and John Gilbert also has to be very aware that there will be voices outside of the building.
So would these ancient walls shield our investigation from the nearby distractions of modern-day life? With spiritualist mediums Derek Okora and David Wells also now on site, and with neither knowing anything from this building's past, Most Haunted was now ready to peel back the layers of time at Bolling Hall.
There's no activity, spiritual activity at this moment that I can feel here. However, again, from the residual energy, what I'm receiving here is of mental imagery of a lady who moves about this, if I can call it, her home, and she's very sure of where she's going. So I feel a lady that's not like in service, but a lady.
Yeah.
Rosamund. And she's not happy. She's not happy.
Why?
It's like as if she's angry because of her love. I feel this could be upon her husband was not there with her, and she's angry with someone, not with her husband, but she's angered. How dare they? How dare they? It's like as if there's a group of men that have taken him away, and she's so lonely. She was so lonely in this atmosphere, in this big house. She shouts out, Richard! Richard! Richard!
What time period?
When was this? When was this? Again, we got 15. 1537. 1537.
And that's when Richard was taken away?
Was that when Richard was taken away? Yes. Yes.
Why was he taken away?
Why was he taken away, Sam? Because of his beliefs. Because he stuck firm to his beliefs. I got this before. It's like as if, as you've asked that question, Ivy, I'm transported to the residual energy because Richard also comes here in spirit form. Because
but just in visitation?
Only in visitation. Yeah. He's not grounded.
Yeah.
A love lost and persecution of faith underline the opening stages of our time in Bradford. But several centuries on, can the victims of Bolling Hall's past contain their unrest in the dead of night? Bradford's Bolling Hall Museum has fast thrown up two facets from its long and often tempestuous past, and having identified one such soul in the form of the highly influential but controversial landlord Richard Tempest.
I am aware, or being made aware, of a spirit man's, not presence, but him coming here. I don't know what time, but anyway, I feel with him is that he's a very, very, an important soul. When I say important, a man of very good standing, very great standing. He would be, him, you know, surveying not just this property, but maybe the area. Thanks, Sam. Sam's saying it's Robert.
Okay.
Robert who walks. Now, I know he is not a grounded spirit energy here. This man, I feel, comes in visitation.
So what time period was he here?
When would that be, Sam? Please. He's got 1, 5, 3, 6, 1536.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're giving me clearly? Okay, 1536. And I feel he must have, it's like him sitting down, sorting out a state or an estate, knowing that there was something radically wrong with him.
Yeah.
You know, as we would do, make a will or something, where his property is concerned.
Yeah.
And he most definitely would have passed away from here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Definitely.
The name of Robert could hold some significance to the hall, although not on the dates mentioned here. But we do know that this is a site that does hold many memories, and nowhere more so than in the ghost room.
At times, anyone who was outside, physical, like ourselves, they would hear sounds. I feel also sweet fragrances. And I wouldn't be at all surprised whether, if a person walked through, they may feel something going past them. Once that spirit person's there, the person walks in, it's like a brushing past.
Right,
Like that.
yeah.
And I feel it would startle anyone that had walked in.
So who's the spirit person?
Who's the spirit person, please, Sam? Richard Tempest. Richard Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sam. He's the only real troubled soul who comes in visitation here. It's like as if he's also angry not meeting up with his love and still searching for her.
So is this the same Richard as before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Richard Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like as if this man lost his life where he was caged up, incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
But elsewhere, it's not here.
Not here, no. And I feel he went to the world of spirit, he went over, and then the thoughts were, I want to go back to my home. And he's been like this for a long time.
Okay.
And, visitation. Because I know, or I'd feel, that Rosamond, who's connected to him, Rosamond, she calls his name out. And I don't know whether her voice is heard clearly.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, a woman's voice would be heard here.
Okay.
It might not be as strong, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And whether it can be understood that she's calling out a name.
Okay. So,
But that happens.
Richard Felix, is there a Rosamond and a Richard
Absolutely,
Tempest?
Yeah. Richard Tempest, Rosamond as well, yeah. She had another name and then married a Tempest, and then they took over this place. And there is definitely a gentleman who died incarcerated in the Fleet prison in London. I just need to go back to my records just to check to see if it is actually Richard Tempest, but I think it probably is.
Okay, right, great. That's good then, yeah.
So his conditions comes here quite regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Quite regularly. There's but up to now in this investigation, I've not felt any negative reactions up to now, which I'm glad to see, but
Yeah.
we don't know.
And there's no grounded spirits, you're saying everybody's coming in
This is
visitation?
definitely visitation.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely visitation.
Right.
So, despite hosting a historic battle and suffering more than its fair share of misfortune, no negative reactions have so far greeted our stay. And no sooner had David Wells entered the hall than two other seemingly gentle souls headed our way.
Got a woman on the staircase. Two women on the staircase. One is very dominant now. She seems very possessive. And I suspect she was the wife of an owner, or she certainly has that air about her. Because she's not particularly communicative. She seems more... I would say she probably looks at me as being someone who's beneath her.
This is the stronger of the two you're talking about. Right.
Yeah. But she's very dominant. It's almost like if you were the other one, she'd be there. She'd be in front of her.
Right.
You know, she's very dominant.
And is she a nice energy, the strong one, or a bit aggressive?
She's a bit passive-aggressive.
Right, okay.
Is that the right term?
Yes, that is the right term.
Okay, should we go on up?
Very hot.
It's interesting because it doesn't have to be a significant place. It could be as mundane as she walked through here a lot.
Absolutely.
You know, it could be as simple as that.
Yeah. I have to say this, I'm really sorry. As you came up the stairs and you banged on that,
Yes.
and my guide went, significant.
It's significant.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's...
What, that's her?
Yeah.
Another early but interesting spirit for our psychics to handle, and a commonly witnessed vision thought to be that of Caroline Wood, who ran the hall whilst her husband went to battle in Madras. Only he never returned. But a far different spectre prowled up on the first floor, where David detects an aggressive male that he describes as beastly and wolf-like.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm okay. Just he's a bit nasty. Just get him to back off a bit.
No, ask him to come forward.
He's still here.
Oh, good. Well, I want him to do something.
I just want him back off.
Can you
from me a
not?
little
I know
bit.
you don't like it, but I know I've asked you this before. But if you can hear his voice, or if you can sense him, or if it, for you to say in his whatever you're picking up, for you to say it or act it.
If you were me, he's literally like this. He's literally.
Oh my God!
He's literally in my face like that, and he's dripping and dog-like, and that's the kind of noise he makes. Oh, how we suffer!
Yeah.
Why would he be like that? What's his connection to this place, and why is he?
I just have to get more of his story. Do you know, I've got him on this. I don't even know if it's this bed, but I've got him on a bed. Like tearing at someone. I know, I'm not saying that's what he did. Again, it's like, so that's describing to me murder. It's saying to me murder.
What, he murdered or he was murdered?
That's a really good question, because your initial thought would be he was a murderer, but do you know what? I would go with he was murdered. He seems to have been set upon by, seems like at least 2 other people. The sad thing is he knew one of them. It's like a cousin. I think he knew one of them. And he's saying all they had to do was ask for money. So I guess they robbed him. Saying all they had to do was ask for money. But it was when he was wolf-like. He almost like he leapt onto this bed.
David has sensed another little-known facet from this location. This bed did once belong elsewhere, to a wealthy old miser called Dickie of Tunstead. He did conceal his wealth in a drawer somewhere in the framework, and was murdered in here by robbers who knew of his lucrative secret. But did Bolling Hall have any other skeletons in its cupboard?
This room doesn't feel like a bedroom to me. It feels like a meeting space.
I've just heard what sounded like a crack, almost as if somebody was moving in the room that we've just come from, so...
I think it was from this room, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
it sounded like somebody moving in there.
Like a click or...
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like somebody's foot on the floorboard, and it was a crack.
Right.
There's nobody down that way.
All right.
What I am wondering.
There's a stone at the window.
Well, there's a path probably 15 foot underneath this, and there is that is open where the old toilet used to be. It is open, so it could be something outside. Can you hear that in there? What?
The sound that Ian had heard emanated from the Civil War room, named so because of its many artefacts, including the death mask of one Oliver Cromwell.
Was it like a motion sensor clicking on and off?
I don't know, it was like when I heard the other room where Kieran went off to investigate, like the smack in the floor, it was like that.
Oh, a big crack in the floor. What about in here?
In amongst all that commotion, it was really interesting for me. When I came into this room, I was saying it feels like a council-ish, like a meeting space. I came in here, it's almost... And again, it's another cliche. I had psychically, this isn't physically, I had a whoosh, which is, for me, head coming off. So now, I'm not suggesting for a second there's a headless creature around here, because I'm not picking up anyone. I'm actually not picking up anyone at all attached to that. It seems that either a decision was made here for a beheading of sorts, or someone from here was dragged off and beheaded. So there's a link.
Richard, anything with that?
Yeah. There's an item in here that I know for a fact relates very much to actually someone being beheaded.
Oh, right.
But they were dead
When
they were beheaded.
There is a presence here, a male presence here, and I can't get to him. Civil War, you know, male presence. What side he's on, I can't even tell you. Because I've got too many conflicting visual clues, to be honest.
Several peripheral bumps and bangs upstairs persuaded us immediately to switch our cameras into night vision and seek out further evidence after dark. So David, Richard, Ian, John and myself decide to stay amongst the audibles on the increasingly active first floor.
There's definitely someone in the room now.
There is.
Yeah, he's calmed down a lot since before.
Well, you said earlier on that you think he was murdered.
He was murdered.
In bed by two or three people for money.
Possibly a cousin, did you say?
Yeah, some
All
relative. Yeah.
fits the story.
He's very warm though. He's to me sitting on the bed there for a second. He was almost like I could sense him, like I would feel you near me if I knew you were near me, and I would feel your body heat. He seemed to be aggressive at that point, very aggressive. Yeah. If you're that angry, then do something in this room. Do something that will make a noise or show us that you don't want us here. Shake this bed.
What's that?
It sounded like it was coming from the bed.
Okay, if that was you, shake this bed again. Just make a sound.
There is actually something rather special about the bed.
Has it got a compartment underneath it where he kept his money?
Absolutely correct, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
If we opened it, would we get a reaction, do you think?
Or if we tried
Is it
to
even
open
possible to open it?
Although Ian's suggestion was welcome, try as we might, we were left stumped in our pursuit of the bed's hidden compartment. If it really is hidden, then for now it remains a myth. And whilst we were chasing a possible red herring, another of our many vigils was also underway, including Derek, Kieran and John, who were eager to see what could hopefully manifest in the kitchen.
If there's anyone here, there's anyone that can hear us, if there are the spirits.
Was that reflection went up there?
You know, I saw something
Not that.
flying across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
No, I genuinely saw that, and
So did I.
Saw it, and you said that.
It went
was why you
across
said it.
like that.
Do you want to stick with the camera? It was after that, was it?
Well, it wasn't that. It was like a black.
Yes.
To me, it was a black
That's right.
figure that went across.
Yeah. A black shadow.
A black shadow, yeah.
Across the top.
No,
Oh, there.
yeah.
That's nice.
For me, it came from up there and went across the window.
Give us a sign, let us know you're around. Come closer to us. What was that?
Sound like at the door.
Come closer to us. What was that? Come closer to us. What was that?
Was that you making the creak? Whoever you are. Do it again if it was you. Oh, did you push me then?
No.
Somebody pushed me forward.
No.
I thought it was your foot.
No.
No, she's quite away from me actually, mate.
Oh shit. Yeah. Oh.
What?
What?
Sorry, I just felt something against my leg.
So she pushed you again?
It didn't feel like a
Shove.
A shove. It just felt like it's the hand like that. Yeah, that was weird.
You alright?
Yeah.
Bolling Hall, our Bradford base that is offering this ghost hunt further evidence by the hour. But who would be left standing as we push our nerves through yet another mystifying night?
You right, John?
Right, John?
Yeah. Just that's
Really weak.
Most Haunted find our Yorkshire base of Bolling Hall throwing more and more activity our way. So intent of making further progress in our seemingly receptive abode, Richard, John, Ian and Derek begin with a séance that offers protection to all involved and hopefully unearths more from an area that is rumoured to have once held a family member who was declared a lunatic.
Walter Lindsay. Are you here in the room with us now? Walter Lindsay, I believe that you were once trapped up here, possibly locked in here, when you were a child. If you're there, move the glass.
Well.
Walter Lindsay. I presume it is you. Just move it again if it's you, just give us a sign. Thank you very much. We really appreciate this. Walter, you didn't die until you were 60, which was quite a good age in those days. Walter, were you happy here? Move the glass if you're still with us. Come on, Walter. We're not going to let you go. Stay with us. Walter, are you there? Walter!
Walter, do you want to leave? The energy seems to have dispersed.
Once more, encouraging lines of communication appear to exist on Bolling's upper level. And no sooner had this séance been closed than a move into the hall's blue bedroom would soon compound our evidence to an even greater degree.
Is there anyone in this room with us? Any spirit entity? Any astral being? If you're here, please try to make a sound. We mean you no harm, no ridicule. We're here purely with the utmost respect. Did anyone hear anything?
Yes,
Yeah.
Usual noise, the usual from the floor, from within type thing.
Are you right, Ian?
I'm fine. It's just that you just have knowing that there's an opening there and having your back to something that you can't see. I felt it makes you feel a bit nervous.
Mm-hmm.
John, how do you feel? Because you've just moved away.
I used the noise that Derek had as an excuse to move away because I really didn't like being over there. It's easy to feel like that when you're in a room as atmospheric as this, but I feel a lot more comfortable here with a wall behind me.
Come on, is anyone in here? Any spirit entity? Any astral being?
Burning up.
Burning up, you're right.
Yeah, I just feel really hot.
You are burning up. You are ice cold. You are ice cold. Derek, feel that?
Yeah.
You're sweating, but you're ice cold.
Yeah. You are cold, you're not hot.
I can feel the sweat coming out of me.
But it's the opposite to touch. It's like you're freezing cold. Now, that I felt like someone was trying to drain me of energy. It's happening with you, John. It's got to be that.
You're right.
All right.
You're right.
Yeah, I just feel dizzy.
You okay, John?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That was great, wasn't it?
There's no doubt about it.
John, we're just going to nip in there. You all right to stay here for a bit?
And we had that
You
noise
sure?
before in there.
Did you?
Yes. But see, the thing is, nothing can make that noise on the floor.
No.
Because it's got a matting on the floor.
Yeah.
You right, John?
Right, John?
Yeah, I feel really weak.
Oh.
No, it's only me.
This is happening.
Is it?
Yeah. You might have to go out to the atmosphere, you know, John. Do you feel faint? Oh, is
John?
okay.
John?
You're all right, John. I'm with you. We're with you, okay? No problem.
John,
No
do
problem.
you want to leave, mate?
Yeah.
Come on,
I
then.
think it's a good idea if you do. Yeah?
Come on, You're going to be all right.
Not for the first time on a Most Haunted investigation, John has suffered a physical reaction that has forced him to sit out the rest of the night. And although his recovery was complete the following day, his experience sent chills down each and every remaining member of the team. And having heard news of John's demise, and with the bit now firmly between my teeth, I head upstairs with Richard, whilst Carl and Stuart venture into an area that no one has so far dared to tread.
I think there's a body possibly buried down here, and certainly a tunnel.
Oh, is there really?
It's supposed to be, yeah. Well, under these bottles, here,
Yeah.
there's a. They think there's a grave.
Is there anyone in this cellar with me and Carl that wishes to communicate? If so, please do something. Move an object. Pick up a bottle of wine maybe and throw that. Smash it. Make a noise. Show us some light anomalies. Make a sound. If you can talk to us, please do so. We're not here to harm you in any way. Did you hear something back there?
What do you think you heard?
It sounded like a footstep or two.
Just mind your step. Mind your step.
Yeah. See, you can't see nothing here, Carl. It's pitch black. Nothing at all. It sounded though it came from up the top.
Shh. Do you hear a scraping sound?
Did that come from back over there? Is there anybody here?
What was that? Oh shit, that was me. That was me.
No, Carl, that came from back over here. That was definitely heard that then.
Are you here? Did you hear that? Is there anything in this room with us? Way.
That come from back here. Must have. Get your camera up here, I can't see anything. You see more than I will. Ouch. Be careful. It's pitch black.
Is anyone here? Is there any spirit entity, any astral being? Shh. The f was that?
That definitely came from that corner, Carl. I heard that. Hopefully the microphone and the cameras picked that up as well. That sounded to be like a scraping sound coming from this area.
That's exactly what I heard. It was a scraping sound, and it was definitely coming from over here.
Is there anybody in this cellar with us now? I think there's someone down there, mate.
God, I keep getting this really weird smell.
I can't smell anything.
No, it's like just really quick and then it's
Then gone.
Oh, it's here, yeah. Who's there? Is there anyone there?
Hello?
Is there anyone here?
Where's it come from?
No.
All these rooms are haunted.
It was a cough.
A cough?
A cough. Was anybody just coughed? I just heard a rustling and a cough. Shh.
Hello? Someone here?
Is there a spirit around in this room? Is there someone here?
Is there anybody here? Is there a spirit person here in this room? If there is, please, can you give us a sign? Is there a spirit person around us now?
Hello? Oh, come on. Did you hear that? Yeah, or did I? Hello? Someone make that noise. Come around there.
It's coming from there.
Presently surrounded by inexplicable sounds, the building's activity levels are rising as rapidly as our pulse rate. What was feverishly cutting into the night air before our very eyes? We would chase the answer, but would we welcome the reply that Bolling Hall has to offer?
I'll call out again. Because I did it when I called out. Okay.
Our stay in Bradford is gaining more momentum by the hour, but with sunrise fast approaching, we wanted answers to the many mysteries that Bolling Hall has so far offered. Carl and Stuart may have been worried by the wine cellar, but the first floor was starting to terrify both Richard and myself. One person had to find the source of the strange noise heard out on the balcony, and that one person certainly wasn't going to be me.
Someone here? Someone from the spirit world? Someone in this area now making those noises. Will you do it again, please? Make a noise for me. Someone down there that drags barrels. Hello?
Richard has gone off now and left me on my own.
Come on, spirits. Make the noise that you often make. Make the dragging sound across the floor. Roll the barrels that you do so often.
The floor near me is just creaking.
Come on. Don't leave me here. Do something. Whatever spirit's still here, come and talk to us now. Make yourself known to us.
Richard, it's just made that noise again.
Where?
In that room.
Whoever's in here, we know you're not alive. You're from the spirit world. Whoever you are, please do it again now.
Shit, Richard. I swear to God, I've just heard as if someone was walking down here. Yeah.
Come on, there's somebody with us now, isn't there? You're going to do something, aren't you? This is a very famous, well-known haunted house. Did you just hear that?
Come here now. That shit me up, something chronic.
That was it.
Come here now.
This is a very famous, well-known haunted house.
It has got freezing cold, hasn't it? Gone colder than I thought it was going to be.
Shit!
What's that? What's that? Someone's upstairs. They've got to. Well, the door's still shut. And you've heard that go. What the was that?
I don't know, I heard something come from up there.
It was like a bottle or something going on there.
It sounded like one, didn't it? What's on this ledge up here? There's stuff up there, I don't know what.
I haven't got a clue. I haven't.
Mate, I'm scared.
There's only glasses and there's a couple of big sort of vases up there, but...
Just heard a banging.
Where did you hear that?
I mean, I could turn around and do that. Yeah, but it sounded like that. It sounded like it was coming from inside this wall. I'm not saying it is coming from inside this wall, but I heard that. It's not me, I've not done that. I'm just doing that just to say what I've heard. Shit!
Yeah, there's got to be something falling off of something, surely. There's got to be something.
Is that you? Is there someone in this cellar now with us playing pranks on me and Carl? Me personally, I feel as though we're being watched. I feel as though there's something down here that doesn't want us here. I think we need to go soon. But I'm willing to stay another 10 minutes or so just to see if anything else does happen. I am enjoying it. But I'm feeling a bit scared as well. I'm being dead truthful with you.
Shaking.
I'm not very happy with myself. Again. I know it was. But after knocks and taps and raps and bangs. There really is someone here. There's something in that room. Yeah.
It came from round there. I'm not going back there.
I think we should.
No, you must be bloody joking. Off.
Why?
I'm not.
It's only around.
No, Richard. No. We don't know what. If someone's making that kind of noise, that's not a nice noise.
No, it's not.
Shh. Right. If we just stay here for a couple of seconds, just to kind of get our kind of.
Yes.
I'll call out again.
Yes.
Because it did it when I called out. Okay.
Oh, come on, that was someone closing the door, wasn't it?
They wouldn't close it like that.
I have to admit that these pictures probably already prove that I was petrified of Bolling Hall's first floor during this vigil.
No!
And thankfully, I wasn't alone. We often encounter bumps, bangs, and a whole host of other related phenomena that leads us to believe that a property is haunted, and Bolling Hall was no different. Our pursuit covered literally every one of the building's many rooms, and the results were certainly interesting. Light anomalies, auditory sensations, physical movement, and intense bodily reaction all point us to think that this could be a haunted property. And at sunrise, the team were literally split in their opinion of what we had all witnessed.
I think the best thing for me about Bolling Hall was the number of documented sightings of ghosts in the building. To be honest with you, for me it lived up to expectations. It was great, it was fantastic, we had a good time, but we did have quite a scare near the end of the night. Yvette and I, the two wimps, went off together. Things started happening, we heard footsteps, bumps and bangs. Did you just hear that?
Right, come here now.
There was nobody else on that landing, on that floor with us. What we heard, as far as I'm concerned, was supernatural.
In order to ensure that auditory phenomena is paranormal, one has to be 100% certain that the sound couldn't have come from any other source. Unfortunately, in the Bolling Hall Museum, there were members of security and other members of the staff who are actually in one locked room. There's a possibility that they may have made a noise which could have been interpreted by Yvette or Richard as coming from close by.
There can be no doubt regarding Bolling Hall's place in Bradford's bloody past. But despite all of our evidence, are we any nearer to knowing if this historic home is haunted. What do you think? Sleep tight.
Now we're putting together a definitive list of your scariest, most haunted episodes. To vote for your 3 scariest episodes, go to livingtv.co.uk/most haunted, and the results are on every Saturday night from this weekend at 10.